This is Football Friday, sponsored by Trusted Choice, Dakota Bank, South Dakota Department of Health, and South Dakota State University.
Watching Football Friday on Dakota News Now.
Good enthusiasm. It's week 3 of Football Friday, and now everybody is finally playing. I'm Mark Ovenden.
Really good enthusiasm, as hot as it is. I'm Zach Borg. We'll have highlights from South Dakota, Iowa, and Minnesota on a very busy night.
We start our coverage at Howard Wood Field, the second game of the doubleheader between the defending 11 AAA champs, these guys, Jefferson and Washington. Warriors won big last week, and their defense was the difference in this first half. They stopped them at the goal line on the first drive. On the second drive, it was Nathan Day with one of his 2 picks and then the play of the night. From the 3-yard line, instead of running the ball, they throw the ball. Hoffman to Jace Woods. 97 yards as I tried to get out of everybody's way, and it was 7-0. And then, talk about defense, Day had another pick, and then Dante Smith takes it to the house. 14-0 at halftime, 3 turnovers, but Jefferson scores 17 in the fourth quarter, forces overtime, and they win it in the extra session in a great comeback, 24-17.
2 straight overtime wins for them. In the first game, it was the Dakota Bowl champion O'Gorman Knights against Roosevelt, and boy, were there plenty of points, and it started from the opening kickoff. Jace Thies gathers the ball at the 21, makes a few cuts down the right sideline. He will go untouched, 79 yards for 6 points. Spoiler alert, there are going to be a lot more points for the team in white. Settle down, Judy Hawk. The Knights don't let up. Hayden Gross with a little slip screen to Rylan Satter, the hero of last week's Dakota Bowl, and he makes it look easy for the 20-yard score, 14-0. And then it's Sully Schlimgen's turn. Gross with the play fake up the gut. Nice stiff arm right there.
Wow.
And he will go 51 yards to make it 21-0. Check out this final score, 77-20. Wow.
Yeah, no kidding. And there's your scores. The other 2 games are tomorrow. The Pierre Governors rolled in their first game last Friday at Pierre. The 6-time defending champions home tonight against the Bobcats of Brookings. Cade Kaiser connects with Jet Zabel 3 times in the first half for touchdowns. And then it's going to be Trey Lewis. Watch this nifty run. This is a punt return. Somehow he shakes free, goes down the sidelines, and he is gone. 68 yards for the touchdown. That puts Pierre up at that point, 35-0. And then Carson Stozier with a pick 6. He's going to take it all the way. It was 49-0 at halftime, and that was your final score. Pierre is looking really good already this year.
What else is new? The second-ranked Tea Area Titans edged Huron last week in a bit of a surprise. Tonight they had their home opener against Aberdeen. The Eagles elected to kick with the wind to start, which was a mistake as Ethan Viss collected the kickoff and breaks free, scrambling deep into Aberdeen territory, and that will set up a short drive where Brenner Conrad would call his own number on a 6-yard scoring scramble. Tea Area takes their home opener 28-7, the final score over Aberdeen Central. More scores from around the area. Again, your peer score. Yankton in a good one against Spearfish wins 42-27. Watertown all over Huron 32-13.
Next up, lots more 11-man highlights. Lots more, including a biggie at the Bob. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Football Friday, sponsored by Trusted Choice, Dakota Bank, South Dakota Department of Health, and South Dakota State University.
And welcome back for more 11-man highlights, and we got a bunch, so let's go right to the video. Let's go to Dale Rapids, where the Warriors looked really good last week. They hosted Belle Fourche tonight, the Bronx, on a long road trip across the state, and it's going to be a long ride home for them. Warriors a big 24-0 lead already when they go to the air. Jack Henry to Cole Rusink. Nice catch down to the 20-yard line, leads to Rusink on the ground. 14 yards for the TD. That makes it 32-0 in favor of Dells. And then Cooper Frost in at quarterback. He throws to Gabe Jones. This is a touchdown, 21 yards, 39-0 at halftime. And that's all the points they needed. Your final score, 39-13 Warriors. Now, the big game in 11A was played at Sioux Falls Christian Field. That is where Cooper, actually USF's field, that's where Cooper Seamer was. Coop?
Oh yeah, Mark, West Central against Sioux Falls Christian looked to be a great game on paper. Both teams ranked, and it figured to be a slugfest at the Bob tonight. A slugfest it was in one way. It was 3-0 Chargers at half, but West Central comes out strong. Caden Alfson finds crew higher here. One-handed stab for the grab. That's going to set up a red zone stand here for West Central. Sort situation here. Alfson takes it in himself here. It's 6-3 after a missed PAT. Sioux Falls Christian gets down the field again here, but they're stopped again. Jacob Doctor already had one field goal in this game. He makes a second one of the night from 32 yards out. West Central, though, gets a late score. They survive the heavyweight match 14-6 over Sioux Falls Christian. Zach?
From relatively few points to plenty of them, we also had third-ranked Canton at Beresford tonight in Class 11A. Canton goes ahead 2 scores when quarterback Braxton Mulder throws the screen to Kane Wallner, and Wallner does the rest for the touchdown. That makes it 14-0 with the visitors in white. Mulder had 2 interceptions on defense, and one helped set up this touchdown run by Wallner, who takes it to the outside and gets to the house, making it 22-0, and making his coach, Rich Lundstrom, all smiles on the sideline. Even a little high five right there. Seahawks looking like a contender early on. Mulder handles the bad snap, throws it up to Braden Qualseth, 28-0. The route was on. 42-14, your final. Canton with the win.
The Lennox Orioles piled up the points in a wild game last week against Chamberlain. Tonight they were down in the Dome. And this is Hayden Christopherson to zone Robinson. Almost makes it in. I thought he was in, but they marked him down short of the goal line. Then Christopherson's going to take it in, and the Tanagers take the lead. Very end of the first now. Vermillion trying to make a drive here, but guess what happens? Tate Gertis is going to step in front of this one, and watch this. Instead of a touchdown pass, it's a touchdown pick. Number 10 is gone. Nothing but turf in front of him. Orioles take the lead, and they go on to win. This was a tight one. 18-12 was your final in favor of the Orioles. Onto the scoreboard again in 11A. Del Rapids wins big. West Central in that slugfest that we talked about. There's your Canton score. Happy anniversary or happy birthday to Matt Anderson, who had a big game for them today. And Dakota Valley 49-13.
Game of the night was in Volga, where the number 3 Cossacks of Sioux Valley hosted the defending state champions from Elk Point-Jefferson. EPJ on a marathon 6-minute opening drive in the first quarter. Gunnar Ewing, big gain on the counter. Ankle tackled, otherwise he might have gone all the way. The drive would stall at the 5-yard line. Carson Timmons booting in the short field goal. Elk Point-Jefferson leading 3-0 after a quarter. In the second quarter, Sioux Valley goes on a methodical march of their own, capped with a 2-yard touchdown run from Brock Christopherson. That made it 7-3, and the Cossack defense made it stand. EPJ on a 4th and 1. Sioux Valley's defense would stuff them for Dan Hughes. 7-3 at half, 20-11 the final. Sioux Valley with the big win.
Number 2 against number 3. All right, the Mustangs of Tri-Valley lost in triple overtime to start the season at Winter. They got a really good team. Tonight they hosted Custer, another team that made a long drive to get here. Tri-Valley striking first. Carter Sorensen finding a big hole in the middle. Nobody touches him. 23 yards for the score. And the Mustangs on top 7-0. Same quarter. Sorensen again. He's going to take the pitch and look at the move of cutting back across the field. 16 yards. And that's a touchdown. That makes it 14-0. And then, you might as well throw it this time. Eli McFarland dropped back to pass, but no, he keeps it himself, and he's gone for the touchdown. 20 yards, 21-0. They rolled 45-7 Tri-Valley. I would imagine they're going to be ranked next week. Let's see how the ranked teams did. A winner big over Webster. There's your Sioux Valley EPGA score. Bridgewater Emory Ethan and Hot Springs 61-6. Up next, it's 9-man football and a great game on the paper anyway at Wolsey. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Football Friday, sponsored by Trusted Choice, Dakota Bank, South Dakota Department of Health, and South Dakota State University.
On to the 9-man ranks and their game of the night in Wolsey.
At least we thought it was going to be anyway. That's where the Warbirds, number 1 in 9A, hosted the top team from 9AA in Parkston. And early in this game, it looked like the Warbirds were going to score, but a fumble is scooped up by Coulter Kramer, and he is gone. 71 yards for a touchdown, 6-0 in favor of the Trojans. They're having fun celebrating there. And then it's Coulter Kramer again, getting to the corner, a 10-yard touchdown run. It's 14-0 in favor of Parkston, and they're just getting started. Still in the first. Coulter Kramer again. 84 yards for the touchdown. We had a lot of big plays tonight. Huge night for him. Huge night for his team. The final score, 54-0 in top-ranked teams in 9AA and 9A.
There's some more scores for you. Howard shutting out Kimball White Lake 28-0. Also a shutout for Hamlin against Garrettson. Elkton Lake Benton doubling up Bonham. And Wall big over New Underwood. In 9A, Ipswich, the Tigers taking on number 2 Warner. The Monarchs starting things off early with a 2-yard touchdown run from their quarterback, Hunter Kramer, to go up 7-0. Ipswich coming back, though, and making their way down the field in the opening quarter, thanks to a 25-yard toss from Max Kulesa to Kyle Hedich. Kulesa was then able to run it in for a 2-yard touchdown of his own. The Tigers would miss the extra point, though, and they trailed the Monarchs 7-6, and that's about as close as they got the rest of the way. The Monarchs are really good trying to get back to that state title game. Kulesa made the toss to Brody Sourwine for a 30-yard touchdown. That makes it 14-6. Punch up that final score. Warner ends up cruising 35-6.
Now, 2 perennial 9-man powerhouses met in Viborg, and Cordell Wright has the highlights. Cordell?
Hey there, guys. The Cougars of Viborg-Hurley hosted the Canistota Hawks tonight. It was a big win last week for the Hawks over Howard, but they did come out to a little bit of a slow start. First possession for the Cougars, Brady Schroedermeyer. He's under pressure, but he avoids it, dumps it off to Nick Hansen. He puts them up 7-0. It would take a couple drives, but the Hawks would get things going, starting with this unlikely broken tackle. Levi Schroeder, he gets it going, and that's going to set up a nice little sneak by Ortman. Canistota takes the lead 8-7. Just before half, Ortman going to extend that lead. He's going to sling it downfield. Ty Dobler comes down with it. He goes into the end zone, 16-7 at half, and they would go on to win 44-21.
All right, the scores for you. We got, again, Parkston winning big. Warner 35-6. Canistota, Platte, Geddes knocking off Gregory. That's 2 straight losses for Gregory. And Harding County and Bison up 40-0 in the third quarter. Another big game in 9B where the Pirates of Avon took on their third ranking to Freeman to play Freeman Academy, Marion Freeman. This team is for real. First quarter, Riley Cheddar faking a handoff, keeps it himself, 51 yards for a Phoenix touchdown, and it's 6-0 early in the game.
I'd say the Phoenix are rising.
And they are just getting started, boy. Those cheerleaders got tired with all the touchdowns they were scoring. Cheddar again, 66 yards to Rocky Amon. Another touchdown. They're scoring on the ground. They're scoring through the air. They're trying to keep track of how many points they got. And it's Cheddar again, this time to Evan Scharberg in the end zone. 19-yard touchdown. Like I said, these guys are for real. We had to go shoot them today. 52-18. Freeman Academy, Marion Freeman, victorious in this one. They are looking very, very sharp. Look at that. Faulkton also won tonight. They're really looking good so far this year. DeSmet over to Rapid St. Mary. You got, again, there's your Phoenix win, and Hitchcock Tulare 62-8 this afternoon. And we are not done. We've got Iowa and Minnesota highlights next, including West Lyon back at home. We'll have that when we come back.
Welcome back to Football Friday, sponsored by Trusted Choice, Dakota Bank, South Dakota Department of Health, and South Dakota State University.
And welcome back. We head to West Lyon for our first Iowa highlights tonight.
That's where the Wildcats look to improve to 2-0 with a win over Lawton-Bronson. The Eagles starting the night with number 5, Braden Hess, throwing a short pass to Loudon Grimsley for the first touchdown of the game. The visitors looking to maybe spoil things. However, West Lyon coming right back. Bryson Childress, 25 yards to Carson Hugavine. That evens the score up. The Wildcats keep it up with Jackson Heiser making a breakaway 30-yard score for the house call. All West Lyon from there. They cruise to their second win, 53-12.
Let's look at those Iowa scores. Central Lyon, George Little Rock, 42-7. Again, there's your West Lyon score. Thanks, Jay, for calling that score in, by the way. It's always nice to hear from you. Boyden Hull, Rock Valley with a win at West Sioux. Akron, Westfield, Western Christian, and Lamar's all win, along with Unity Christian losing, Spencer losing. The bottom teams all won on this page. Over to Minnesota. Lots of Minnesota openers were last night, and the rest of them were tonight, like in Pipestone, where the Arrows took on Blue Earth. I would have thought Blue Earth would have won a blue uniform.
Or they'd have a blue logo.
Yeah,
I
something.
don't get it.
But first drive of the game, it's going to be Hayden Brook for the touchdown for the Arrows, and they're kind of fired up about that. later on. Blue Earth with the ball, some confusion in the backfield, and that leads to a sack by Hudson Burnett and Jackson Melcher combining for the sack right there, and their defense was really good. On to the scoreboard, they win it 21-18. It was really close here in the second half. Let's check out the rest of the Minnesota scores. Jackson County Central wins big. Canby over Martin County West. Jordan knocked off Marshall tonight. Look at that, 35-34 score. Red Rock Central also won 13-6. Is that our last scoreboard? I think it is.
Of course, we had Hills Beaver Creek and Laverne winning games. You can watch those highlights on Dakota News Now. A lot of college football highlights that are also on DakotaNewsNow.com, as will our show tonight.
Augie has their home opener tomorrow. Not too many college games tomorrow. Most of them were last night.
Yep, although Dakota Wesleyan will have them. They're going to be out in Mitchell tomorrow against Hastings. Hoping to get Northwestern, the defending NAIA national champions. They're on the road in Nebraska. Hopefully get their opener. And a couple of high school games as well. Brandon Valley and Lincoln are in action. So we'll try and see what we get.